Let's look at doing a time series graph in StatCrunch. With a time series graph, it's basically doing a regular XY graph, except the X values are all going to be dates. If they're already put in order, and if they're not, you can sort them. But assuming you've got them sorted in order by date, just go ahead and use a regular time series graph. What do you call it? Yeah. We're going to use a regular scatterplot graph, and scatterplot is another way of saying an XY graph, although you have an option of having individual points or using lines to connect the points. So a time series graph is basically a scatterplot graph with making sure that the dates are in order and that you've got lines connecting the points. So let's take a look. Here we have a problem where they want us to graph the accompanying data represents women's median earnings as percentage of men's median earnings for recent years, beginning with 1989. That's recent enough for me. That's probably not very recent for y'all. Is there a trend, and how does it affect women? Construct a time series graph. So again, this is just going to be a scatter plot with the dates in order for the X graph, for the X-axis, and the lines connected. Now, if we look at the data, here it comes up. Here's the full data set. 1989, women earned 59.6% of what men did on average. 1990, 60.1, 1991, 62.5. On up to 2005, they had 68.9. So if I click on this and open it in StatCrunch, and it was kind enough to open on the first try, thank you. Now these are all sorted. So I don't need this anymore. I've got it duplicated over here. What I need to do is find out which of these graphs match this data. And I could sit there and go through it, or I could cheat just a little bit. I'm going to hit graph up here. I'm going to come down to scatter plot. For my X variable, I've got the year. For my Y variable, I've got the earnings. I don't have to group it. I'm going to display it with lines between the points. Lots of different options. I think everything's okay here. So if I hit compute, It's graphed it for me. Super simple to figure out which one this matches up with. So I come in here and, well, it's already been checked, but that's it. Easy enough. So that's your time series graph in StatCrunch. To do a histogram, we need to get a bunch of data that we can group together. So I'm going to go back to section 2.1 to find a table of data that we can use to do a histogram, and showing you how to do it in StatCrunch. So this problem, we weren't actually supposed to do a histogram, just to construct a frequency distribution. But if I pull the data up, this is a list of 30 screw lengths. They want us to begin with a lower class limit of 0.72, use a class width of 0.01. I'm going to open this in StatCrunch. So I just have one column full of data. To make a histogram out of this, to get StatCrunch to do it for us, don't need that anymore. I'm going to hit Graph, Histogram, select my column where my data's at. Now, I'm going to go down here because this is all just raw data. I don't have the frequencies counted at this point. So I'm going to let the computer do it for me. I'm going to start my first group at 0.720. So I have to type that in, 0.720, with a width of 0.01. Don't think I'm going to need anything else. Hit compute and bam, there's my histogram. Perfect. That's all I had to do. I went from raw data to giving it the location of the raw data, what the first class limit would be, the lower class limit for the first group, 0.720. I gave it the class width of 0.01. It created the classes, it did the counts, and it created the histogram. Thank you, StatCrunch. See, now it can get fun.